Welcome back to the Explainer. So, today we are diving into some industry forecasts that are, well, honestly, they're pretty mind-bending. We're looking at how AI isn't just going to tweak software over the next few years. It's literally going to rewrite our entire reality heading into 2026. The sheer scale of the disruption we're about to talk about is going to touch absolutely everything. We're talking about massive shifts that will ripple from the invisible infrastructure of the internet straight into your daily career and all the way down to the biology of your own body.
Okay, let's start with a hook. Check out this quote pulled straight from the forecasts. Coding as we knew it in 2016 will be gone by the end of 2026. I mean, just let that sink in for a second, right? The stakes here are absolutely massive. We're looking at the total obsolescence of literally one of the most lucrative skill sets of the last decade. And the crazy part? This is really just the beginning of the ripple effect.
So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to kick things off with 1, welcome to the AI winter. Then we'll move into 2, the end of traditional coding. Next up is 3, every worker becomes a manager. After that, we'll check out 4, invisible infrastructure in space. And finally, we'll wrap up with 5, programming our biological future.
All right, part 1. Welcome to the AI winter and the consolidation of capital and research.
Now, normally when you hear the word winter in tech, you probably think of a crash, right? A total collapse. But actually, scratch that. That is not at all what experts are forecasting here. Instead, think of it more like a giant incubation period. We've kind of maxed out the initial breakthroughs from those early language models. So now billions of dollars are just hibernating. They're totally laser-focused on fundamental research to figure out the exact next big leap. It's a pure execution game right now, but the whole industry is bracing for this monumental jump in capability.
So how exactly do you score funding during a winter? Well, you promise the ultimate prize. Right now, industry leaders are basically weaponizing the term superintelligence to grab those hibernating dollars. But here's the catch. There are competing definitions of what that actually means. Is superintelligence an AI that just recursively writes and improves its own code? Is it an AI that completely automates the grueling scientific research process? Or is it something else entirely, like an AI with some new alternative human-level reasoning? Whichever one of these definitions actually pans out is going to absolutely dictate where the massive investments flow over the coming year.
Which brings us to our first visible ripple effect in part 2, the end of traditional coding and how software builds itself.
So you know those rigid app frameworks we've used for what, decades now? Think of them like isolated glass boxes. The whole idea of clicking on one box for your email and a totally different box for a calculator, that's all starting to fracture. Software is becoming this totally fluid, continuous thing. Because AI can essentially just speak software into existence from scratch, apps are going to adapt on the fly. They'll just seamlessly respond to our real-time needs without those old rigid walls separating our data.
To really get why this is happening, let's just look at the timeline of programming abstraction. Back in the day, engineers worked in assembly, right? Incredibly complex, low-level stuff where one tiny error meant the whole system crashed. Then we got C++, which made things a bit easier. Then Python, which abstracted away even more of that headache. Now, looking at 2026, AI is just the ultimate layer of abstraction. The new programming language is literally just plain English and AI delegation. The only folks manually writing code in the future will be the engineers actively trying to upgrade the AI itself.
And that brings us to a super important number, 10. The industry is seriously forecasting the imminent arrival of the 10-person unicorn company. No way, right? But think about it. Developers won't need to manually write applications line by line anymore. They'll just direct intelligent systems to do all the heavy lifting. The revenue per employee is going to skyrocket. A tiny team of just 10 domain experts armed with a fleet of AI agents will be able to build and run billion-dollar platforms that used to require hundreds of engineers.
Okay, so how does this affect you personally? That brings us to section 3. Every worker becomes a manager and delegating to intelligent agents. Now, I know all this sounds incredibly daunting, but the forecasts address this anxiety head-on by calling out the lump of labor fallacy. It's this persistent myth that automation just straight up destroys all the jobs. But let's look at reality for a second. 150 years ago, something like 90% of people worked in agriculture. Today, thanks to tractors and supply chains, barely 5% feed the whole world. But did total jobs disappear? No, total jobs exploded. AI is going to do the exact same thing to knowledge work. The economic pie is going to grow exponentially, but your role in it, yeah, that definitely has to change. The whole paradigm of your value is completely shifting.
In the old reality, a software developer's value was all about writing code. By 2026, it's an AI engineer, improving the AI's ability to code. You are moving from being an individual contributor to a manager of AI agents. And we are talking way past basic prompt engineering, we're moving into high-level delegation. You'll be valued on your ability to clearly communicate goals, build trust with digital agents, and rigorously verify their work. Saying I'm not good at agent delegation is going to be exactly as unacceptable as saying I'm not good with computers today.
And this is already spawning entirely new careers, like reward engineering. This is a brand new, highly technical role. As we start handing off these massive long-term goals to AI, simple text prompts just aren't going to cut it anymore. A reward engineer is someone who explicitly defines success and failure with zero ambiguity, making sure the AI doesn't, hack its own rewards. Like, if you tell a cleaning bot its goal is to see 0 messes, an unaligned AI might just turn off its camera. Literally can't see any messes. Reward engineers exist to prevent exactly that kind of lazy shortcut.
All right, let's pull back the curtain a bit. Section 4, Invisible Infrastructure and Space, and the physical footprint of the new web.
So here are the 3 invisible layers keeping all of this running. First, those standard browsers we use today, they're going to evolve into custom AI integrations. Second, get ready for vertical search agents. These are hyper-specialized AIs that dig into niche, hidden data for complex fields like law or healthcare. And third, maybe the most crucial point of all, search is the ultimate indispensable layer. Because no matter how smart these foundational models get, they don't have real-time memory. Every single call to an AI will require an underlying lightning-fast search layer to keep it grounded in actual present-day facts.
And speaking of physical footprints, this was honestly one of the most surprising forecasts I read. We are literally looking at a potential space grab. As reusable commercial rockets get cheaper and more reliable, the industry is seriously forecasting a shift toward launching massive GPU compute clusters right into orbit. Yeah, into space. Instead of buying up land for giant data centers down here on Earth, the next big land grab for AI infrastructure could literally be in the stars.
Which brings us to our final, most mind-bending point. Section 5, Programming Our Biological Future, and what happens when AI learns the language of life.
On a regular, day-to-day level, physical manifestations of AI are just going to be totally normalized. The forecasts show that household humanoid robots will probably start as a fun novelty, sure, but eventually, passive data collection devices like smart fabrics, glasses, and wearables that constantly observe your physical environment, they're just going to become normal. They will be as incredibly common and unremarkable as having a smartphone in your pocket right now.
But the real magic? That is happening on a microscopic, cellular level. The source material uses this brilliant analogy. Centuries ago, calculus was this crazy new language that finally let us unlock the laws of physics, right? Well, today, AI is the complex new language we need to unlock biology. Biology doesn't have neat little equations. It's a messy, chaotic, evolutionary puzzle with billions of variables. AI lets us finally map that chaos, turning biology from trial and error guesswork into an actual, precise, programmable engineering science.
And this works because AI absolutely dominates in simulatable domains. Think about it. AI conquered chess and then it conquered Go. Why? Because those are closed systems. They can be infinitely simulated and mathematically verified at lightning speed. As our ability to run virtual simulations of biological processes improves, AI is going to dominate there too. This is exactly how we're going to see AI achieve superhuman capabilities in medicine, radically accelerating drug discovery, and potentially curing diseases on a scale we have never seen before.
Which brings us right to our final question for this explainer. Are you ready to manage your AI? Look, this tech is advancing whether we like it or not. It's rippling out from the death of traditional apps all the way to programmable biology. The future belongs to those who adapt. So what are you doing today to shift your mindset from being a solo individual contributor to becoming a capable manager of the most powerful tools humanity has ever created? Definitely something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.